Hello everyone, this is MC Deck Discussions and I'm OhBSmall, and today we have another deck discussion. This is with Domino Aggression, the deck that I built to go against the shielded one, Captain America, and it turned out actually it wasn't the best matchup to make, at least not the deck that I built for it. So let's go ahead and first I'm going to talk about why it actually wasn't perhaps the best deck. I thought it was going to be a pretty good deck for it because we have quite a bit of ranged attacks in here. So I'll discuss that in a little bit. But and we have the ability to do quite a bit of, we can against Captain America. We have the chance to go ahead and confuse him quite a bit. But if you confuse him and go to Alter Ego, I didn't realize he has 5 opportunities. So there's the 2 advances, right, that everybody has. But he has 3 other cards that will allow him to scheme again. And so I didn't realize that even in my final game. I'll go ahead and talk about the results of that right now. So if you don't want to want that spoiled, be sure to stop this recording now, stop watching this video now, and you can watch the gameplay, but I'm going to go ahead and tell it now. So overall, the deck actually did pretty well in my practice games, and I think that's mostly because I stayed a lot in hero side, but also I think I got a little lucky in those games because when he gets his like overkill cards, he can be a lot of trouble there too. So I think some other choices would have been better. Maybe a different hero, a better choice, or just a different type of deck. But in any case, I ended up losing. I won my 2 practice games, and then I lost my real game. And I actually had a lot of pretty successful semi games but I had to keep starting over in my games because I kept making so many errors, and then I would just not be able to recover just from what those errors were. So who knows if I would have won them, but it appeared that I was going to win a lot of those. And so certainly the potential to still win, but not realizing just how many opportunities that Captain America had to scheme again when he's when I'm an Alter Ego. Was to my detriment for sure. All right, but overall though, I actually really like this deck. I just think maybe that Captain America is not the best matchup for it, but I think a lot of other villains or leaders would be. And so here's why. So we have quite a bit of ranged attacking going on. So there's both of Domino's pistols, and then in addition on the upgrades we have 3 sidearms, and those sidearms can go on any of our allies, and so those will give the ally +1 ATK, and the attacks gain range, right? And we've got plenty of allies that are could be targets for that. All right, and then we have an endurance to give Domino a little extra life, but in addition we have attack training, and we have a fair number of allies who are already, because attack training you can only put on an X-Men ally, gives them +1 ATK and +2 hit points. So we have a fair number of X-Men allies in the deck, and then we also have a couple of extra allies who are X-Force, and we have Children of the Atom, so even they have the potential to get attack training on them as well, but any of them can get sidearm on them. Okay. All right, and as long as we already talked about the upgrades and started on the supports, we also have Moira McTaggart in here since this deck can normally go to Alter Ego pretty easily. Moira McTaggart is a good card to be able to put into play, so we can get, every time we change over to hero side, we can draw a card. Okay, so and then in addition, so we've got Deadpool, who's great at thwarting and attacking, and then just leave him, let him defend for you so that he doesn't trigger his forced interrupt unless you actually want it to. And then we have, but if you actually end up getting an attack training on him, he could be able to attack and thwart some more. And then we have Deathlock, who, when you play him, you can automatically get a sidearm on him, or if you already have Children of the Atom in play, you could choose to get an attack training on him. And then we have Magic. There are, a lot of non-elite minions that you could be able to get rid of them with her ability. Nick Fury for some card draw, Professor X to be able to confuse the villain, Psylocke to be able to confuse the villain a couple more times, and White Fox when you discard, because there's so many discard abilities in here, you get White Fox into play regularly. And because of the deck manipulation here, even if you don't get White Fox at the right time, Domino can put White Fox on the top of your deck, and you end up discarding White Fox and getting her into play. So really cool there. And then Wolverine can be a great damage dealer for the deck as well, and even be able to do, a consistent thwarting for you, since Domino only has, one thwart. So that can help to have a consistent thwarter, somebody who just thwarts for you all the time if you don't need the attack from him. Okay. And then, so the other part of that is that it actually has even more ability to confuse the villain. So you could really do a serious confuse lock against the villain, because, at the end of the round, Professor X gets discarded. So if you're in alter ego, on the alter ego side to begin with, you can just use Domino's alter ego ability, right? Action, choose a card in your hand, swap that card with the top card of your discard pile, and you can put Professor X or even Psylocke back into your hand to be able to play again. If you're in hero side, just make sure not to discard any cards, and you can go get Professor X once again, and to be able to confuse the villain. I would tend not to do that, very often, but here and there, that could be a wise thing to do, because, if you do that, you're also not using some of your most valuable cards for attacking. Okay? But it's there and available for you to do so. So if you plan it out ahead of time, you can use that ability well. And then we also had some player side schemes that made it very easy to get Domino's pistols in play. So either you get Domino's pistols relatively quickly and they get into play from the setup. And because you have, you're able to get digging deep, keep getting that drawn into your hand when it gets, when you use any of your cards that make you discard a card and you set up, you get digging deep, get that into your hand, makes it easy to play Domino's pistols. But if you don't get them early, Lock and Load and Superpower Training can both help to get those into play, and they always have some alternate targets if Domino's pistols are already in play. And then, let's see, that's pretty much the deck. So there's not a whole lot to discuss here, but, it has a lot of attack ability in here. And because you have so many allies, you can get rid of the threat pretty readily too. And then if you start going to alter ego regularly, so that's one of the nice things is if you have a deck like this that lets you go to alter ego regularly, then you can start using Pip the Pug to start putting cards back on top of your deck to use them again. And so whatever you need at the time, you need some more right place, right time to get to do some serious thwarting. You need some more attack cards to go back in play. Then you can do those things. And then the Painted Lady, allows you to get an extra card in your hand when you go to alter ego side. So there's some really good potential here for this deck. And I think I might even try this deck up against a different villain at some point, maybe some point soon, just so I can see that it really, hopefully it is as good a deck as I think it is, and get a chance to test it out. So I'm looking forward to trying that. So if you happen to like this deck, maybe it'll inspire you for your own build, or you could give it a try on somebody and let me know how that worked out. All right, have a great one, everybody, and we'll catch you in the next one.